your family, God forbid, got ill and you had to phone an ambulance, go to A&E, I mean, would you have confidence in the service you were going to get?
I mean, we did. We had to do that in Hogmanay.
Yeah, well, we did. We had to call out the vet, and the cat was really terribly sick. I don't know quite what happened to it, but the service was great, and we took it along to the animal hospital, and it was repaired and back with us the next day, no problem. It's as if it never happened. In fact, it gave me brilliant ideas because the way their setup was working, it was way better than what we normally do in the NHS. So I thought maybe we could use some of the techniques and the tricks that they're doing to bring down waiting times to help people in patient care, to get more people, in fact, we could maybe just hire some vets. It's going to take years, though. Not weeks, not months, years.
You say years. What cost to society? I mean, people are already needlessly dying because of the state, some of the services we're getting, and you're saying it'll take years.
Well, Rona, I've always been upfront. I've always said that I was completely incapable of making any changes in reasonable timescales. So a 5-year plan, I think, is quite fair. And it'll take years, and I probably won't be around for 5 years to see it through. So, I can say what I like.
Okay, and we asked our viewers if they had any questions for you, and we've got lots. If you just want to pick up the iPad, Terry here has got a question about A&E.
I've never understood why the hospitals work 24/7 and GPs don't. That's bound to put more pressure on the A&E departments, because that's where people, the first thing they'll do. My question to you would be, has any thought been given to having GPs open at the same time as NHS hospitals?
What do you think of Terry's idea then?
Well, that's just ridiculous, isn't it, Rona? I mean, when would GPs ever consider coming out to visit people in their houses? When would they ever consider to coming out, overnight, or if somebody was really ill, coming to their house and treating them there and then, and not having people phone in? I mean, this is just crazy. GPs would never accept this. I mean, we couldn't get people to do that anymore anyway. I mean, this has never happened in the past. Never. Our model is quite firmly in the working on the basis that you phone to speak to a receptionist who will screen your call, tell you that you're actually all right, and call back if something goes wrong. And then if you phone back later on, and then they get call screened again, and you still have to insist. If you insist at that point, you might get to speak to a nurse, and then if you do speak to a nurse, you might get a call back from a doctor within about 4 hours or so. But by that point, hopefully your problem's gone away because you're no longer there.
Okay, we've got another question now, and this is from Helen about waiting lists.
My name is Helen Hanna, and I would like to ask Hamza Yusuf, is there any hope of having my hip replacement surgery this year? I've been waiting for over 3 years for my hip replacement surgery, and we were promised last year that it would be looked at, and they said they're not even doing MD on the list. It's just really trauma and cancer patients that are able to have any surgery done. We have to be kept informed and have an idea of when the surgery will be.
So how long is Helen going to have to wait, and people like Helen?
Well, first of all, Helen, you got to help yourself a wee bit, doll. Lose a few pounds. Take some weight off that hip, because it's going to last a wee bit longer if you take some weight off it, and then we can spin it out a bit longer. Because 3 years is nothing. Come on, what do you think? We've been dead for the last 3 years. We've not done anything. So.
Well, happy Wednesday, folks. Is it a happy Wednesday? And good evening, John.
Good evening, Ben. How are you this fine evening?
I am as good as can be expected. Had a little bit of a close one with the dinner there, but got it sorted, got it done. I'm here on time. I'm looking fresh. John, I must say you are looking absolutely gorgeous tonight.
Resplendent. Resplendent, I thought.
You are indeed. You're looking lovely. Before we do get into it, algorithmically help us, people, and hit that like button. We would really appreciate it. And it'll share it out to more people. We can get more people in.
Share it out,
and we
baby.
can have a better discussion.
I've rejigged my camera and the capture, and I think I'm looking really fucking good. I think
You're looking amazing. I can see you. You're looking way better than I am. However,
I'll fix you tomorrow.
you are using a better, but you're using a better DSLR than me. So we've got to start with that. But we are both using. Thank you guys for knocking those likes up. I really appreciate it. We both really appreciate it. John, what's on the agenda for tonight then? Tell us, what are we going to be talking about?
Tonight we're going to talk about when it's appropriate to eat cake and when not to eat cake. When
Right?
Yes. And it's not a cooking show. We're also going to talk about home invasions, when it's appropriate to invade a home and when not. We'll also be talking about Smoky Mountains in Canada, Smoky Mountains in Italy, and what that means for the world. And there are a number of other things that we can talk about as well.
Let me give you a bit of sad news. Let me give you a bit of sad news before you run the intro.
Yeah.
Tina Turner, Queen of Rock and Roll, has passed away today at the age of 83 in
83.
Switzerland.
Yep.
83. That's a good innings, I would say.
I think that's okay.
would
Yeah, it's not bad. I would take that. I would take that at this moment in time. A couple of years ago, I'd have taken 60.
Well, yeah, but you got there. You're there, right? And long may you reign, King John. Now, I do something completely different. I'm going to give you a quick a cappella tribute to the Queen of Rock and Roll, and I'm probably going to bungle it, but still. Left the good job in the city, working for the man every night and day. That'll do.
Okay, and we'll also be looking into diving in reservoirs. Not something you should be doing, but there are people out there doing it. And
right now.
Yeah, and doctor-assisted deaths.
Are they appropriate? I have my own opinion on this.
Yeah.
But it's something we will get into as the show goes on. So with that, John, say hello to the good people, introduce the show, and let's get this ball rolling.
I'm saying hello to the good people out there, and welcome to this episode 221 of Chasing Dissent Live with me, John, and Ben.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.
Well.
Stealing my lines.
No, not really.
Stealing.
Bit of a question for you, though.
Stealing.
Bit of a question. Yeah, we had a kind of question earlier today, and we
Ask
thought,
away.
Don't what? Oh, fire away.
Question for me. Yeah, fire away.
We just wondered, people, is our title, is our show name, our brand, is it harming our exposure?
Yeah, we are wondering this. We're wondering if the name of the channel, of the outfit, might be changed to reflect something more positive, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
It's entirely it's just an up in the air blue sky idea at the moment, but we're wondering if having certain words in the name might be harming us algorithmically. Perhaps, we don't know. Robin says no, it's catchy. Well, okay, but Trudy says troll poll.
Yeah, well, troll polls only happen on Fridays. I've decided that.
Only on,
Unilaterally.
only on Fridays. Yep, I did decide that. Yeah. Yep.
There we go.
So there we go.
We might do a troll poll
Well,
on Friday though, so that gives you another incentive to be there because you really want to be there to get your voice heard. Because unlike other institutions in this fair country, we actually listen to you guys. And if
we
you
don't just
comment,
listen to you.
we always read them. We very rarely don't like them, and we nearly always say something back if appropriate. Don't we, Ben?
And we don't just listen to you. We do. We don't just listen to you. We listen to anybody. Anybody that we find interesting and wants to have an opinion. And with that in mind, tomorrow night, live on Chasing Dissent, we are going to have self-professed ex-conspiracist and host of the Some Dare Call It Conspiracy podcast,
We'll
Brent Lee.
We'll talk about that. Right. We'll talk about that. But yeah, it will be on Chasing Dissent, but we'll talk about exactly when and how.
Well, it will be tomorrow.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe.
It's been scheduled.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And set up with the guest.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
And booked for weeks.
Yeah, that's fine.
So yes, live guest, and the conversation is going to be very interesting, I think, and it's going to be contentious, but I think that we are able to here keep things absolutely on a level, keep things polite, and discuss ideas that we may disagree with or they may disagree with, and discuss them rationally and have them, come to a middle ground perhaps. And if we disagree, we can always just agree to disagree. But we're not here to abuse people. We're not here to shout at people. We want to hear what people have to say. We want people to convince us of their position, just as we would like to convince them of our position. And you don't get anywhere in this world without talking to people with whom you might disagree.
So have you got your line in yet?
It's being installed tomorrow.
You're looking very blurry.
Yeah.
Is everything okay?
So everything, my signal is strong. It is full. It could be my focus ring, perhaps. Let me hold on. Oh, that's a bit better on my end.
Yeah, that is a bit better.
How's that?
Yes,
how's that looking for you?
Yeah, you were out of focus, mate. Oh, he wasn't out of focus. He was soft focus to make himself look even better.
Well, it doesn't matter if I'm soft or hard focus. I will look fantastic either way. And Robin Wollstonholme says in the chat, it's the only way to do it. And I assume that's referring to having conversations with people whom we may disagree with. And I agree with you. It is the only way to do it. And John, you've been doing some stuff, haven't you? You've been secretly recording some stuff these past few days, perhaps with another person.
That wasn't secret.
I mean, it kind of was. You didn't tell him.
Tell him. Who?
The people watching.
Oh, with Hamza?
No.
What? What are
The
you
stuff
talking about?
you've been recording with your other guest.
Oh, with Latimer?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what? Latimer Alder used to come on Dissent Media, and he was a really good guest, and people loved him. People loved him when he came on.
He came on
John's
Chasing
been
Liberty first, mate.
I know he did, but he was a repeat guest on Dissent Media. He was. And he was a good guest. And I find the things that he has to say extremely interesting. So I'm looking forward to hearing those conversations between you and Latimer. You've recorded several, haven't you?
Yeah. We try and do. Well, we'll probably put it out as one whole podcast, and then there'll maybe be snippets, maybe shorts and things that can stick on YouTube if appropriate.
Okay.
Because Latimer's pretty safe on YouTube because it's all facts, you know?
Well, absolutely it is. The man knows what he's talking about. He brings the receipts. And like I said, whenever we had him on the show previously, very good guest, very good person to talk to, and the people enjoyed listening to him.
And a
So
great,
I'm
a great guy. He took me out for lunch.
He did, but after you dumped me in the middle of nowhere, yeah.
Yeah, well, I had to go and get lunch with Latimer.
I mean, he
And
dumped
he's
me
good
literally.
Lady Latimer.
He literally dumped me at the end of the A23, was it, John? The
Just
A23?
to be clear, you did suggest it.
To help you out, yeah.
Well, thank you, and I thanked you deeply for it. Did I not?
You would have thought he'd have gone, no, I'll make sure you get home safe. No, I'll make sure you get home safe. And then all of a sudden, he's like, that's a fantastic idea. I'll just dump you at the end of the A23, oh, aye.
Yeah.
And he did it. He went and dumped me. Just
So what do you think? What do you think of my
petrol
shirt?
station.
Troll room. What do you think of the shirt? Do you like it? I like it.
I think your shirt's
I think I look
I think
good.
it's fantastic.
I like
You've
it.
got another shirt.
I'm a
that's
bit disappointed that you've gone bland tonight. It's not like you.
Well, because I've only got the one shirt.
Yeah, but
already got the
I mean, you
one
could just
Hawaiian
have said
shirt.
you'd washed it. I mean, let's face it. You're only going to wear it during the show. It's only on for an hour.
Actually, before the show, when I wore it on Monday, it'd been washed, and I wore it to supermarket. I wore it around the supermarket.
Did you get admiring glances?
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, it's a bloody lovely shirt.
Longer.
It's a bloody lovely shirt.
Louise,
got another one on the way.
Louise saw it today hanging up, and she grabbed it and put it on. And then she goes, "How can this possibly fit you?" And I said, "The more alarming question, my dear, since it's an XL, is how can it possibly fit you?"
I mean, if there is an expanse in the chest, that would make sense. I will say no more. But if there is sometimes you need an extra space for that expanse in the chest. So an XL may well be fitting.
Hello,
I just got an
Minuteman.
electric.
Yes, everyone is tip top and
on
minty
my
fresh.
laptop.
Right, shall we? What we're going to tackle first? When should one eat cake? And is it appropriate to eat cake? Generally.
Now I need you to expand on this.
Right. Well, the
I really do.
whole lockdown cake, Boris. The whole thing has exploded again, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, he's been re-referred to the police for another alleged breach of the nonsensical rules, hasn't he?
Yeah. Well, you say nonsensical, but some people lost their livelihood, their jobs, their businesses, and effectively their lives from these nonsensical rules. You look at the chap who was the former, he was some kind of champion or something, had just been fined £30,000 for opening his gym or allowing people into his gym during lockdown, and he's just lost his appeal.
So yeah, Hartlepool former Mr. Universe Eddie Elwood has lost his appeal over the COOF lockdown conviction. A gym owner convicted of breaking the laws by letting people in to meet and exercise has lost his court appeal. And that's concerning.
Yeah, it's very concerning. And remember, we thought, people need a space to some people need a space to get away from people, and we actually knew people that we had as members, and I'm obviously not mentioning names, but they were in abusive relationships, and their only break was coming to the gym. And what we did was we instigated a booking system so people would come in one at a time, right? So we played by the rules. We said one at a time, and everybody would, they'd come in one at a time. They'd one person in the gym, they'd do their circuit, and then they'd go out. Machines would be sanitized, and then the next person come in. Now, I personally think the whole thing was a load of nonsense, but we played by the rules, and we thought this is fair.
Yeah.
So the gym was effectively closed, except for one person at a time. And the police turned up. Okay? And I wasn't there, but they threatened my wife with arrest. They threatened any staff members that we would have in the premises with arrest. And they threatened any members that were in the premises at the time with arrest because we were breaking the rules. Now, there was no meeting. There was no meeting of peoples. The staff and the gym member were never in contact, right? They were in separate rooms. So what part of the rules did we breach? And yet we were told if we continued to open, we'd be arrested. And it was then followed up by a letter from the council threatening us with legal action, and we would lose any benefits that we were due, so including our rate support benefit. What?
I was going to say, this same council that you were paying rent to, that forced you to close down and still wanted rent off you. This same council. Yeah. They
effectively, gyms in Scotland were closed for nearly 2 years. Gyms were the first to close and the last to open.
The hypocrisy in the whole thing, because you couldn't do that, but
there won't be any rules the next time, because there won't be a next time.
No, but listen, you couldn't do that. A very, very quote unquote, according to their thinking, safe way of allowing people to have a mental health break, a bit of exercise, without ever coming into contact with anyone else, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
But you could go to Tesco's and amble around with hundreds of other people.
As long as you liked. As long as you liked.
Because, listen, people, this all makes sense, doesn't it? It all makes perfect sense. Remember the Scotch eggs, John? Do you remember the Scotch eggs? You know, you were safe to have a beer.
Yeah,
if you had
a substantial meal, and the Scotch egg was a substantial meal. A Scotch egg is never a substantial meal. But anyway, but government FOIs have been revealed by Scottish government, and not one single doctor, nurse, frontline medical practitioner of any type, cleaner, janitor, teacher, teaching assistant, supermarket worker, ambulance worker, paramedic, railway worker, bus driver, ever died from. Not one in Scotland. Not one. And those people were in constant contact. Constant contact.
To be honest with you, I was probably in more contact with people than any supermarket or shop worker. I put myself in crowded situations on almost a daily basis.
Well, yeah, we all did, but those people were there 8 hours, 12 hours a day, whatever, in constant contact. And not one single person died.
According to the Scottish government.
Yeah.
By the way, for fact check.
That's a fact check, scott.gov.com. Scott.gov. You look it up, FOI. Yep, it's all there.
So, I mean, I digress. I really do.
We have digressed. So we're back to the cake eating incidents of Bojo and people turning up at Checkers and things like that. And really, how long are we going to pursue this? Should we pursue it? Should we not? Is it appropriate for someone who's implying rules on people to break those rules? No, I say.
Listen,
but
no, I agree with you. But in defense of the man, right? And I really don't want to defend the man. But in defense of the man, this really does look, at this point, like a witch hunt because people are scared he's going to take over the Conservative Party again. That's what this looks like to me.
You make a good point, Ben, because let's think about this. Did Keith not do exactly the same thing?
Yes, but remember, Sue, whatever her name is,
Angela.
She's Sue. Sue Gray.
Yeah.
The woman that did all the investigation into it. She's now left the Cabinet Office and is working for Keith because, there's no conflict of interest there or anything.
No, but
is there?
But Keith Keith did exactly the same thing.
Yeah, he did,
he not?
and he was caught on camera doing it.
And no prosecutions. But Boris got
Well,
fined,
of course,
didn't
there's
he?
no prosecutions. It's Keith, and do you know what? He's being set up, isn't he? As the darling next prime minister. And I say what I'm about to say with absolute trepidation. I say what I'm about to say not because I want it to be true, but I believe it to be true. And that is that the Conservative Party will absolutely get decimated at the next election unless Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson is at the helm. If he is at the helm, they might pick up seats.
I don't like Alexander, right?
I don't.
I really don't like him. I think he's a dangerous buffoon. Okay?
But
he's either a dangerous buffoon or
public.
He's either a dangerous buffoon or he's a dangerous man who purports to be a buffoon. Either way, he's a dangerous buffoon.
Yeah, it's that one.
Right? So I don't like the man at all. But I have long said that the only way the Conservative Party win the next election is if Boris is at the helm. Because the public love him.
They do. I don't know why they love him.
I don't know why, but they do.
Like I said, what we have just said there. Oh, I've lost my camera.
Again? You lost your camera?
We're back.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
But what I just said there, like I said, is not something I want to be true because I loathe the man. I despise him. I despise the Conservative Party. I despise the Labour Party.
I despise all parties.
And Robin, I know, I will tell you, most people here in this chat do not love Boris.
No.
We are all united by that, I would say. But unfortunately, the general public, the people who listened to everything he said over the last 3 years,
they love him.
Those people love him.
They do.
And they don't care that he ate cake. They don't care. He's had his fine, whatever. They don't care.
You know what? I really don't care
about
either. Because I'll be honest, I couldn't take any cognizance of the law. No. And they weren't. Let's be honest, people. They weren't laws, right? They weren't rules. They weren't laws. They were only
even Matt Hancock now says that, doesn't he?
They were only ever recommendations, according to the government.
Well, according to Matt Hancock himself, who keeps going around on podcasts and saying, you know, I'm a human being. He goes, I'm a human being and I fell in love. And what you've got to remember is it was only guidance. That's what he's now saying. He's saying guidance. That. The man whose signature was on those rules.
Yeah, but if it was only guidance, tell that to the guy that just got fined 30k.
That's a very good point.
If it was only guidance, why isn't Matt Hancock there for his defence? It was actually only guidance.
Because and it's only guidance when Matt Hancock's cheating on his wife, right? that's the long and short of it, John. It's only guidance when Matt Hancock's cheating on his wife.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's true. That's true. I mean, Matt Hancock's not done himself any favours in this whole thing. He didn't comport himself with any dignity at all, did he? And he's really just screwed everything up.
But he is making a lot
he might be making a lot of money, but you know what? He might be making bank, but he's just the man has no reputation. Although I think he has absolutely no conception of how much people hate him. I don't think he understands that people detest him with I'll tell
you what I can't believe, and I'll tell you what I don't understand. Gina's still with him.
I know, and he's a creepy guy. I mean, I don't know how big it is, but I mean, he's a creepy guy.
She left, I believe, a billionaire to be with him.
Yeah. Well, Matt won't be far off it. He won't. He won't be far off it now, mate, will he? Oh, right. Anyway, let's get off this sordid subject. What shall we go next with?
Your list, your choice.
BLM. And I don't mean the Bureau of Land Management, which for your information is the corporation, not the corporation, the federal bureau that manages public land in the United States. Not that BLM, the other BLM, right? Spent $12 million, $12 million on luxury properties in LA and Toronto in their tax filings.
Yes, it.
And they're now
18.5 million in debt.
Yeah, they're now they're now filing for bankruptcy, I believe.
Yes,
So,
and we are talking about the entity BLM.
yeah,
Right, because there is an actual legal entity / I guess limited company, Black Lives Matter, and they have been essentially, the leaders have essentially been, I would say, it's borderline fraud what they've been doing.
I don't think it's borderline at all.
Yeah, but we have to say that for legal reasons. So it appears that
Well, what they're going to do? They're going to sue us. BLM going to sue us. BLM, the bankrupt company in America, is going to sue us because what are we going to give them? If you sue us, you can get 100% of what we earn.
You can have this burnt out disposable vape. You can have that.
Yeah,
I guess it kind of works.
I'm going to have to move something. Oh well, the both the fridge and the desk are moving. This is only a temporary setup. Although I think it looks fantastic for a temporary setup. Even if I am blowing my own trumpet here.
You've got to move a whole floor yet, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm going up. I'm going up in the world.
You're going up. Ah, the only way is up.
Back into my attic.
My bad. Yeah. But yes, yeah, you're absolutely right. Black Lives Matter, the entity, not the protest groups, not the ideology, but the entity, appear to have been taking donations made by various corporations and the general public. They told them that these donations would be used to help disadvantaged people of color, as they say, and instead they got it mostly got spent on luxury property for the owners, didn't it, John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shalini has spotted it.
She spotted the beer fridge.
Yeah, she has.
It was on sale in B&Q, wasn't it, John?
It was, Ben. I was tempted to get two. So I could have wine in one and beer in the other.
No, you could just send one to me.
Why would you need one? You don't drink. You only drink coffee now.
That's going to change.
I don't think so.
I'm fucking sick of. Oh, I'm friggin'.
Of course, the Irish one spotted it. Anyway,
I'm friggin' sick of coffee.
Right, let's move on. Let's move on to the topic of the day. This plonker that's been doing the home invasions, right?
Mizzy, bud, Mizzy. You know he's just been on Piers Morgan tonight.
I believe so. I'm not going to watch that. I wouldn't dignify it with a watch.
I will watch it after the show. I'll give it a watch and I'll tell you what he said because, research. But this kid, man, he's only just been banned from TikTok in the last couple of days. And it's all blown up everywhere over social media. Only really in the last couple of days.
I can't understand why he wasn't banned from TikTok earlier because he was committing crimes on the platform. He was filming crimes and putting them on the platform. So he was using the platform to promote his crimes.
I mean, he got arrested earlier in the year for something he put on TikTok, and still TikTok allowed, and that was assaulting Jewish people. Assaulting Jewish people in the streets.
Yeah,
I mean, he was arrested for that.
That's it. There seems to be this kind of there seems to be this, and you might say it's a misconception by people of a certain colour that they can do no wrong and therefore they can get away with anything these days. But that's going to change, right? Because they're pushing the envelope so hard that it will flip. It will flip at one point and the hammer's going to come down and it's going to come down hard.
Well, Mizzy made a statement in the newspaper, I believe the night before last, and he said, and I quote, there's only outrage on social media because it's a black man doing these things.
No, that's not true.
I'll tell you what, I have watched some of what he has done.
Mm-hmm.
I'll list off some of the things. He has invaded homes
Mm-hmm.
with children in them.
Mm-hmm.
He went to a library and started causing criminal damage, ripping up books in front of the librarian. Then he entered the private space and placed his hands on the librarians. He stole a woman's
That's assault.
dog.
That's assault.
Yeah,
Next.
He stole a woman's dog
Yep, he did.
on camera. He's harassed people in the street to no end.
Mm-hmm.
He's assaulted Jewish people, and apparently he's been charged and now fined.
Yeah.
Already he's been fined for this stuff.
Yeah.
But if
Well,
that
he's
were
been
me
fined
or
for
you,
something. Yeah, the thing is, we don't actually know what he get. Well, what did he get charged with? Causing a public nuisance or something nonsense like that?
he should have been charged with multiple counts of assault.
Yeah. Well, he only got fined £365, I believe.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
And a number of restrictions were placed upon him that he couldn't enter certain locations and he couldn't post stuff on social media involving other people without the other person's permission. Now,
You know what?
now
That's
that
fine.
right, see that, and I mean, I abhor what the guy's done, and I do not condone it by any stretch of the imagination. But how can you say that you can't post stuff on social media if you film people in public? Because that's a restriction.
See, this is an issue, isn't it?
Sorry?
See, this is an issue.
Yeah, this is a restriction that's maybe going. That to me, that's a restriction that's starting to infringe on other people's rights and not just his.
See, what I'm wondering is perhaps maybe a restriction should have been placed upon him to not use social media at all.
I think that would have been a much better outcome, but not to put stuff on social media without the person's permission isn't good enough. He should have been banned from social media if you want to go down that route.
Yeah. Yeah, and once again, I abhor the idea of censorship and I abhor the idea of banning, but at the same time, he used those platforms to disseminate literal crimes that he had committed.
Yeah.
And I think there's a line, and I think actual criminal behavior, including assault, home invasion, criminal damage, and theft, I think they're those lines. I don't know if people agree with me. I don't know.
No, I agree. I think there's too much shared in social media at the moment just now. I mean, and this is going to sound crazy, but people should exhibit a degree of self-censorship, right? You shouldn't be promoting people that are doing bad things by showing, by showing them as a. I mean, a lot of people show these things in a funny way, like, or even things like, people behaving horribly, like taking a pee in the street and things like that. Why do you want to show people that? It's wrong, yes, but by showing it, you're kind of promoting the behavior. Why don't you just report it?
No, I agree.
And let it get dealt with, or report it. You report it to someone local. It's always a hard decision because there's always this balance between what you should do and what and the freedoms that you're entitled to, and then what you shouldn't do. But there is the decorum. That's who has it said that? Who said decorum?
That's Tony Garrett.
Yeah, you're right, Tony. There's a lack of decorum these days on both sides. On people that are behaving badly, and on people that think, "Oh, I'll post that because I'll get likes and giggles."
Well, this is it. I think. And this is just me spitballing, and this is just my opinion, but I think the main cause of this is helicopter parenting. I mean, I've spoken about this before, and it's the fact that if there even are both parents in the house, okay, one parent either has to work all of the time, or both parents have to work all of the time in order to bring up a family.
This isn't a parental problem, okay? This wasn't brought into. This wasn't a choice that was made by parents, right? This is a choice that's been made by the society and the governments that now exist that have taken away the ability for one parent to be able to fund a family. So
Yes,
people
no,
are
but
now
listen.
people are now at the point where you need two working people to fund a family, and that doesn't work, because then you're relying on the state to educate your child and effectively work as an unpaid babysitter, right? So
Yep.
they get free access to it, and then you end up, you're not appropriately managing what your child does and doesn't do, because you're
No,
never
you're not.
there. So
Let me
yes,
finish my point.
I get your point, but the root cause is not the parents. The root cause is the government.
Yes, but let me finish my point here, because the root cause may be the government, but the symptom, and this is the symptom, is that these parents, a lot of them, feel so damn guilty that they don't tell their kids no. And these kids never learn the word no.
Yeah.
And this is not just Mizzy. This is an entire generation of pretty much everybody under the age of about 23, 24 in this country, and probably in the United States as well, and probably across the West. Anyone under the age of about 23 or 24, for the most part, do not know the word no. And this is why you get Antifa. This is why you get all of these protests and things like that, because...
And all these things in school haven't helped, because you get this, you get this participation award now. It doesn't matter if you didn't win. Well, what's the point in having a competition if you're not going to try and win? What's the point?
Exactly.
If you didn't win, but you still get a cup, what you get a cup for, All these things lead to people feeling entitled. And then they get into the workplace, and someone says, go and do that. And they go, I don't want to do that. Well, that's what you're getting paid for. So if you don't do it, you're out in your ear. And then they go a lot and say, oh, I don't want to do that. I've been oppressed at work. And
I'm going to HR.
This is what the workplace is like these days. It's unbelievable.
I mean, unfortunately, these people right now are our future leaders. And unless that they get a smack and a dose of reality, because a lot of people don't have it, then we are on a path to societal collapse and destruction. Because if these type of people...
Right, come on, Ben. It's in the book. Right, it's in the log. We've said, I've said numerous occasions, we are living in the end times. Right.
Yeah.
You know the next thing that happens, and it involves dogs and cats. And we're not going to say what they're going to be doing, but that's exactly what is going to be happening next. Right.
But when I get that feeling, I won't. Oh, stop.
Yeah, please stop. So the question I need to ask about the Mizzy arrest. Now, he gave himself up, okay? So this was arranged. So no doubt he went to a lawyer, and his lawyer said, look, we'll come in, blah, blah, blah. So they've basically arranged a photo shoot for the cameras, haven't they?
It does appear so, yeah.
Well, they have. Come on. Right, come on.
Yeah.
The policewoman, right? And I use that term without misgendering, I think. The policewoman, right, is wearing cropped trousers and loafers.
Now, I that's not my area of expertise. So
this is no one's area of expertise, mate. Policewomen, police officers in uniform do not dress like that. That is not a police uniform. If someone turned up like that, right, say they came into the pub, I would be going, that's a stripper! Get them off, love!
Okay.
Because that's not a police uniform. So what's happened here is they've thought, we'll use what's her name, right? Now she's either a civilian or more likely she's a CID girl, right? She's in the CID. And we thought, we'll use Thingy because she's quite photogenic, right? So they've stuck a vest on her. She's not even wearing a belt. She's not even wearing a utility belt, right? and she's wearing
Come on, even I've
trousers.
got one of those.
She's not. I mean, those trousers are what? They don't even have a zip in them. They're not cargo pants, right? And she's wearing a loafer. So they thought she's wearing black kit anyway. So we'll just she can put a black polo on, and then put the vest on, and we can use her for the photo shoot. That's what they've done. The whole thing's just staged. It's probably a undercover cop. Well, not undercover, a CID cop, right? But
Yeah.
it's stupid because people can see. People can see. She's not wearing any socks. You can't walk about for 8 hours in uniform and not wear socks.
Well, okay, I also want to address something before we leave this Mizzy situation, okay? Because I'm seeing a lot of chatter on social media, and I think I can kind of dispel this chatter with common sense. Okay, so this chatter is, he's got a, what is it, a profile for being an actor.
I'm gonna slide the picture in so that people can see her feet. There she is.
You do that.
There she is. There's him. And there's...
Okay, come.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Oh, she is quite photogenic, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. She's all right. But hold on. I'm trying to get her feet in. Oh, come on. Hold on. I'll get there.
Come on, we can do this.
We'll get there, people. We'll get there.
We can do this. I believe in you.
There you go. There's her feet. You see her feet? You ever seen a cop dressed like that? A uniform cop dressed like that? No. Right. Okay.
So anyway,
Sorry,
I kind of want to try and dispel this thing going around with just a bit of common sense. Okay, he's got a profile to be hired as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, he did have. It's been removed now. And people are going, look, this is proof it's all fake. It's proof it's all fake. I will say this. There is no evidence he has ever been cast in anything. Okay?
No.
So he's never been in a production. He's never been in a play. He's never been in a TV show. He's never been in a movie. So what I think has happened here, it's one of these sites where you can create your own profile.
Troll room has been quiet.
I can lean in further.
Yeah, okay. Right, carry on. I'm sorry, I just want people to be able to hear your soliloquies, and I'm sorry for interrupting it.
No, it's okay, but he's never been in anything, okay? So what's happened here, it's one of these websites where you can create your own profile. I could go and create a profile right now. You could, John, anybody listening could. So he's thinking that, I know, I'm a big shot on social media. I'm going to put myself up and let myself off as an actor. Look at all my social media stuff here. That's all this is. It's nothing else. He's not an actor. He's not been hired for anything. He's clearly not been hired for anything in the past. If you can point to one thing that you've seen him in, I would like to see it. This is just a chancer who's trying to use his clout and notoriety on social media in order to increase his profile because he wants to be hired as an actor. That's all this is, in my opinion. And that's just common sense. Because otherwise, where are all these things that he's been in? Where are they?
Yeah.
I'd like to see them.
Yeah, he's not an actor.
Yeah,
I mean, he's been doing this to try and gain some notoriety, obviously.
Yeah.
Right, so let's hold on. Let's address what's going on in the chat. Pardon me. So Shalini says YouTube are blocking her comments. No,
I can see her comments.
First of all,
correct,
Shalini,
actor. What?
Well, wait a
Blisters.
minute. Wait, can I finish?
Yep.
First of all, Shalini, can you ensure that you have live chat selected at the top as opposed to top chat? So make sure you've got live chat and you'll see everything. Secondly, if you use bad words, YouTube will block your comments. So don't use bad words. Yeah?
Correct.
My comment about Vaughn blocking them may or may not be accurate. Because he has a mod, doesn't he?
He is.
But yeah,
But
we
if he
value
can't-
what you say, Shalini. We do.
We do indeed, but when we're in the flow, we can't always address the chat. So
TikTok should have banned them. Yeah, TikTok
Well,
should have banned them ages ago.
TikTok banned me for my daughter saying hello.
Yeah, I know. But
So you know,
well,
if they
there's
can
more
ban
to it
somebody
than
for
that.
that.
But let's not get into it. Right. So where are we now? Where are we going to move on? Let's move on, shall we?
Let's move on. In fact,
the Telegraph.
fact,
The Telegraph have made an article saying that deaths are rising as junior doctors go on strike. Okay.
colour me shocked, John.
So that's not good optics for junior doctors, is it?
But this is something that I said would happen. I said this repeatedly, right? And you know what? I agree. I agree that the frontline staff probably need more money, first of all. But second of
Why?
all,
No,
because they are
Why?
right. Okay, I don't think they need the 17% pay rise that they want.
Why do
But
they
I
want
believe that they should
17%
get.
pay rise?
I don't know why they want a 17%, but I believe they should get a pay rise in line with inflation, and I think everybody else should, right? However,
Hold on. You're the economist, right?
yeah,
You give everyone a pay rise in line with inflation. What's going to happen?
well, it depends where you get that money from. So let me finish my point.
Yeah, go on.
Because we still need to look at the NHS dispassionately. We don't need to fund it more. We need to gut it. We need to gut it of middle management. We need to gut it of curators and diversity managers. And then we need to redirect that money to the front line. We don't need more money. We need to redirect money. And that's easy to do if somebody looks at the absolute state of our NHS dispassionately. One of, if not the single biggest employer in the country. And a lot of those jobs, and it's not a small amount, a lot of those jobs that pay more than a frontline nurse, more than a frontline junior doctor, for people sitting in offices being a manager,
Or
they can be gutted.
art curator,
Yeah,
diversity manager.
these take that money for these unnecessary positions, and I'm talking directly to trust managers here, or executives, whatever you want to call yourselves. When you need work doing, give the job to the lowest bidder, not the highest.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that happen again and again. I understand the way the budgets work. I understand that if you don't spend all of your budget,
It'll
you get
get
whatever
cut.
you've got left over and taken off next year.
Yeah.
However, what does that really matter? If you've already got that money still in the kitty, what does it matter? Gut your trusts of all of these nonsense positions and then take that money and redirect it.
So
CJ, yes, you are indeed visible.
yeah, so the question is, when these people took the job, did they know what they were going to get paid?
See, I make this argument also because people did sign contracts knowing what their wage would be.
And
Also,
and if they don't like it, then they always have an option, don't they?
they do.
Yeah, they can go and get work elsewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, that's kind of... Well, Minuteman GB says, Ben, even as a libertarian, you are 100% correct. Well, I am a libertarian. I like to think I'm a libertarian. Not in the sense of, oh my God, that guy's... But I believe in liberty. I believe in freedom. I believe in choice. Yes, indeed, Andrew.
Councils are the worst, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've said it time and time again that somebody needs to come in and take a look at this whole thing dispassionately. Because right now, when it comes to the NHS, everything is said and done with emotion. They hold it up as a golden goose. It's
because they've built the, as you said, they've built the NHS that way deliberately. They've built it as a sacred cow. One cannot question the NHS. One cannot criticise the NHS, and one cannot criticise the people that work for it. Or you're just a nasty person, and you really want it to fail, and you don't believe in Britain, and you don't believe in the world. You know, it's just like.
Do you know what?
What, Ben?
I'm not criticising the concept of the National Health Service. I'm criticising the delivery of the National Health Service.
Yeah.
And the delivery of the National Health Service is bloated, overstuffed, and full of completely unnecessary jobs and positions. Okay, the real necessary jobs and positions are the front line, and you basically need as little people as possible behind the scenes that can get the job done.
Yeah.
You don't need to bloat your staff out, like I said, with a manager.
Yeah. So here's an example, right? I used to work for the council many years ago.
Yeah.
I worked for the council and I managed an IT department that provided IT to the schools. Yeah. And I had a newish employee and I couldn't find him. I didn't know where the hell he was.
Uh-huh.
And I found out he was at home. He'd gone home, right? And this was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It wasn't his lunch break or anything. He just decided to go home. And he came in the next day after I'd found this out, and I fired him. And I was hauled up in front of HR for firing him. And they said, you can't do that. And I goes, yes, I can. He's within his 6-month probationary period. He's not done as he was told. He didn't inform me that he was allegedly sick. And he only exposed himself when he was found out to be where he was. So he's not worthy of the position and he's fired. And they said, will you reconsider? And I said, no, I will not. And I am a legend, as I am the only person I think in that council that's ever fired anyone and got away with it.
Well, you were right to do what you did at the end of the day. And, people are talking about the NHS funding in the chat. And need I remind people that the NHS gets upwards of £1 billion every 3 days?
1.2.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Every 3 days. So,
wait, hold on a minute. Let me address the chat. Do you want to try and get the channel banned? If you do, keep going in that wave on. Thank you.
Yeah, please stop.
Yeah? You want to cut it out?
Yeah, no. Yeah, so don't. Just keep it respectful. Because
the chat applies to the channel, right? We're responsible for it. Or we'll just turn the chat off, if that's what you want.
We make people moderators who we can trust to help moderate the chat.
Yeah, and not muck things up.
We understand that, it's a ball ache. We understand it's a ball ache. But we have to play within those rules to keep on the platform. It's just the way things are. And when people say, why are you on this platform? Because we get that a lot. Why are you on this platform? Well, I'll tell you why we're on this platform. We're on this platform. John's on this platform and made this platform for us on this platform because this is where everybody is. This is the video sharing site. Yeah, this is the place to be. And we want to bring this to as wide an audience as possible.
Yeah, you've got to be on YouTube. I mean, if you want us to do special shows on Rumble and things like that, then tell us that, right? Yeah. And we'll do them.
And we'd happily do that.
We'll do that, right? But you got to go there en masse and view them when we do it. But YouTube is the place where we get the biggest views.
It is true, but if you want to go and subscribe to us on Rumble, I've just put the link in the chat. You can head over there and do that now, if you feel like it.
We've been monetized on Rumble since what? Since
day one.
Since day one, and we've made like what? We aren't even in double figures yet, are we?
I don't even think we've made a quid, mate.
I don't think we've made double figures. I don't think we made 10 pence.
Yeah, let me.
It doesn't matter, but the last time I think we looked, we'd made about 5 pence in Rumble. Okay, over what, a year and a half? We've already made. I'll tell you,
we've made 37 cents.
37 cents in Rumble. Okay, in a year and a half. Now we haven't made much on YouTube, but we've made like
we haven't even made a fiver.
Yeah, we've maybe made 4 quid since we've been monetized, which is less than a month. So. We're going to make more money on YouTube than we're ever going to make on Rumble.
Yeah. So, you know, if we want this
That's
to be viable,
why we don't move over to Rumble 1. Because we can't make money on it. That's the problem. We'll do one-offs, and we're more than happy to do specials on it, but we just cannot. We cannot spend all our time. Have you got a fan on, Ben? Yeah?
I've turned my fan down. Well, apparently... Oh, is that because of my hair? Is it because you can hear it, or is it because of my?
Or is it easier?
Is it my luscious locks that keep allegedly moving in the wind? Which one is it? If you can hear it, I'll bring it down to a lower setting. But it's basically how I'm alive right now because it is boiling hot here.
I wish I had your problem. I've got the heating on.
Oof.
It's freezing here.
Oof.
It's lovely. But it's cold. I mean, it's like 15 degrees, if that. Right.
Robin says, plus YouTube needs good content like you guys make. Well, thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Robin.
And I will say this, if you haven't watched John's video from today of behind the scenes of making a Himza, I suggest you go watch it. I watched it on the premiere this morning and I really did quite enjoy it. I was giggling. I was having a good time. It's a good little video.
Yeah, it's not really a tutorial or whatever. It's a bit of a laugh, to be honest. It's all right.
Minute Man says, if I thought you boys were into this for money, I would switch off. Well, we're not into this for money, but if we want to do this seriously and we want to do it full time,
we need to make money.
We need to be able to make some money in order to A, bring you better quality content, and B, make this our full-time job and maybe employ people.
This is our full-time job. That's the problem. This is our full-time job and it's not making us money.
No.
I mean, you guys, I mean, right, I'm not trying to be an arse here, but we spend more time working on this than most people spend working on their actual work, right?
Yeah.
And we don't make any money on it. That's why we rely on donations. We rely on the meager amounts that we get from advertising or whatever. So we actually don't make money. We're always putting out way more money than we're getting in. And we really appreciate the people that have subscribed on Ko-fi because we've got some good subscribers on Ko-fi. We don't have a lot of them. We need more of them. But, even a $5 or a $10 a month makes a big difference to us. That's a couple of coffees to you guys,
Mm-hmm.
That makes a really big difference to us if you can do that every month.
Yeah, we want to. Of course we want to do this. There's so much else we could go and do and that would probably pay more.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is what we want to do as our full-time job from now until God knows when. And if we could make enough to pay the bills and give you a better quality content, that is what we are aiming to do. We don't want to be mega rich and we don't want to employ 31 people and a runner for coffee like Russell Brand says, like CJ says here. But, what it would be nice to do is be able to have 1 or 2 employees that can run things like socials and promotions and make things like graphics and clips and things like that so that we can bring you a higher quality show.
Yeah, we want to be the talent.
At the end of the day, we do want to step away from the hours and hours and hours a day that we have to do on production. And it's not just production and promotion. And you know, at the end of the day, we also have families. And like John says, in order to do this, and we love doing this, but in order to do this, I barely see my kids. And that's not an understatement, is it, John?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, like, right, for instance, yesterday, right? Yesterday I did Hamza, and while I was doing Hamza, I also recorded it to do the making of Hamza. Now, I started Hamza at, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I finished and put up the making of Hamza at 9:30 that night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I didn't work on anything else. That's all I did yesterday. It takes a long time.
And I've been speaking to John today, and I spoke to John this morning, and I'll tell you guys what I said. And it's I also want to I want to start making daily if possible, but single issue videos again. You know, as well as the shows. And I want to do on location stuff. So I want to go and film on location and rock around in my mobility scooter and have a laugh and make some good, entertaining and thought-provoking content. But I can't do that because I was going to go to London. I was going to go to London last Saturday to live stream the Extinction Rebellion protest. But just for fuel and parking. And this is God's honest truth. And I showed John, I showed Vaughan the screenshots of the costs. Just for fuel and parking, I was looking at over £100.
Yeah.
And that doesn't, you know, to some people, £100 is not a lot of money, but I can't afford that. I just, at the end of the day, and I'm not moaning. I'm just telling you the fact. I'm telling you.
So they'll see.
But if I want to do stuff like that,
CJ, hit us up in DM, and we'll see about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're always keen to have people.
Indeed.
On. Thursday nights are.
We are
guest night.
indeed.
I think Rabbit Hole's next weekend. Next Thursday, is it? First Thursday of the month, I think, Rabbit Hole, usually.
Yeah.
So Ed will be back then. I think we're doing Admiral Bird and a Wrath.
But look, I'm saying to you, if I want to do more on location stuff, and I do, I need to be able to afford that. And I can't keep taking that from my kids' mouths at the end of the day. It has to come from somewhere.
Right. Yep. Let's get back to work, or let's get back to the news. Sadiq Khan apparently had a heart attack at COP26. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He was left barely conscious after a cardiac arrest, and he was drenched with sweat as he was carried off stage. I do not remember that being reported. Do you?
I don't.
No.
I don't.
I don't remember it being reported at all, or commented upon, or shown on any mainstream media, or even brought up. So, my question is, did it happen?
Do you know what? I'm going to say something to you.
Because it's kind of funny that he's now putting this out when he's under attack for you, Liz.
I'm going to say something to you.
Go on.
I think it probably did happen, right? And I think he's the type of person who might know why it happened but doesn't want to say. I will say no more than that.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
And now he's going for sympathy.
Yeah, and now he's gone for sympathy, but he's using it, isn't he? He's saying, I've got PTSD from all of these death threats.
Well, hey, fair play. Yep, if I had death threats, I'd probably have PTSD.
I've had death threats.
Yeah, carry on. You've got PTSD. Yep, carry on.
I am actually diagnosed with complex PTSD, but it's nothing to do with death threats.
Yeah, I know.
It's to do with. It's to do with.
It's fine. Just carry on.
But what I'm telling you is, I think I'm in a unique position to actually make a comparison.
Yeah, he's not got PTSD. Okay, let's move on.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't. You know, these people that say they've got PTSD from a tweet,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I ignored them.
They don't. They've had hurty feelings. That's what they've had. Hurty feelings. And you know what, people? Mute or block. That's all you've got to do. Mute or block. And
I
then
wish
they're either left shouting into the ether, or they can't even shout. So it's up to you. Mute or block. You don't need to suffer. If you want to suffer, you've chosen it.
I think, CJ, I'm going to adopt that. So as opposed to the real reason, I've now got PTSD because I was in Vietnam.
I
Yeah.
can see this. There's going to be a thumbnail at some point with Ben as the deer hunter.
I mean, the real reason is, yeah, John
No,
knows it,
don't
and
go
others
into
know
it.
as
Just
well.
leave
I
it,
don't want to go
right?
over it.
Okay.
I don't want to go over it, but yes, it's now Vietnam.
Yeah, it's Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Right. So anyway, that's Sadiq Khan. He's just a clown, isn't he? Anyway,
Now, I want to move on. I want to move on because I want to read you a headline from GB News, and this is in
go
our
on
thing.
then.
Madeleine McCann's pink pajamas key to new police search as bags carried away from reservoir. Now, this is the German police in association with the Portuguese police, in association with the British police,
Yeah.
are searching. So I'll just read you the
tell you
article
what,
verbatim.
Could you read that while I just nip away for something? I'll be back in a second.
His
Carry on.
bladder's gone again, isn't it? Right, anyway, I shall read you the article verbatim. Police are looking for traces of Madeleine McCann's pink pajamas, as it has been claimed, with as specialists spotted carrying away bags from a remote reservoir in Portugal. Officers are working on a theory that German prime suspect Christian Bruckner, or, it says Christian B here, but it's Bruckner, isn't it? Kidnapped Madeleine, ended her, and dumped her body at the beauty spot, which is located 45 minutes away from where she vanished in 2007. The search of Portugal's Arcade Dam began on Tuesday after sources close to the investigation said police were led there by credible new information. A drought has reduced the water levels at the dam, with the worst dry spell in years seen as key to the cops securing a breakthrough. Portuguese and German search specialists who are being monitored by Scotland Yard have been told to hunt for rags and fragments of clothing, according to sources close to the investigation. The search is being taken very seriously and is being controlled by the Germans, a Portuguese source told The Sun. They are so sensitive about this information, they did not even disclose the exact location of the search area until shortly before work started. They asked Portuguese officers assisting them to look for any evidence, but specifically rags. I believe they've also imposed a no-fly zone over the area. On the night Maddie disappeared from her family's apartment in Praia de Luz, the toddler was wearing pink pajamas. A source told The Times police had been told to hunt for traces of her pink pajamas. During the first day of the huge search mission, teams of officers were spotted with shovels and accompanied by sniffer dogs as they combed the desolate site under a no-fly zone. I was right, they did impose a no-fly zone. Officers were spotted removing bags from the site. However, it is unknown what the bags contained. Arade Dam can only be accessed by a dirt road. It's been linked to the Madeleine case before when it was searched in 2008, so it was searched before. Christian B is known to have regularly visited the location where he parked his yellow and white VW camper van in a car park close to the water's edge. A German source added the initial thought was that this was a last throw of the dice, but the arrival of top German BKA officers, Federal Criminal Police, and the role of Scotland Yard suggests they have credible information, does it? This is also not a spur-of-the-moment move. They have been planning it since the start of May.
Right. So,
okay,
here's a question for you.
Yeah.
The German police are overseeing all this. They're directing it.
They are.
Right. The Portuguese police are doing the searching.
Yes.
What's Scotland Yard got to do with it?
Well, I'll tell you what Scotland Yard have got to do with it. Anything to do with her, they get involved in because they think it's their.
They have no jurisdiction
in
Portugal?
They have no jurisdiction in Portugal. You're absolutely right. And do you know what I don't understand, right? And I'm going to say this, and this is going to sound heartless, right? And I'm really sad about what happened to young Madeleine. Something happened to her. Mm-hmm. I have my theories, but
Thank you.
New
Vaughn.
Ko-fi subscription from Spectre VGD.
Did he Ko-fi us?
Thank you. Oh, Vaughn
What-
subscribed. Thank you, Vaughn. That means a monthly payment.
Yes,
You are
Yeah,
a
thank you.
sweetheart. Despite what I said to you
You are-
earlier, you know I love you deeply.
thank you very much. We really do appreciate it. What I don't understand is kids go missing in this country virtually every day, and they do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And the resources that have been spent of taxpayers' money on Madeleine McCann.
Mhm.
Why aren't we're 16 years down the line, and I don't think we're ever really going to know what happened.
Well,
I really don't.
I think we know what happened in our heart of hearts, right? But I don't think it's ever going to come to fruition, much like no one's ever going to get held to account for anything that happened over the last 3 years.
No. But all of these millions and millions of pounds that have been spent, and I understand it, right? I do. But we need to also look at all of the other people, all of the other kids that go missing. We're 16 years down the line on this.
Mhm.
We are.
Well, remember that? Remember that little boy that disappeared in Greece?
No.
Do you not remember that? The little
No,
boy
because it's never good.
Well, because it never comes up anymore. But a little boy disappeared in Greece. I think he was 2 or something like that. And,
Yeah.
you know, they hunted for him for a couple of years, and that was it. You never hear about it anymore. You just never hear about it. I think he'd be like 22 or something now, or maybe even older, or maybe 30 or something, but if he was still alive. But, you know, it's like, why has so much been put into this? Because what are
Ben
I mean,
Needham.
let's face it, what are the McCanns? They're middle class doctors, right?
Yes.
I mean, they're not aristocrats or higher echelon of
No,
society.
But
So why
but they
so
knew
much been put
Gordon
into it?
Brown. They knew Gordon Brown. They knew Tony
Yeah,
Blair. They knew
yeah.
the right people. Okay. So I honestly
Yeah,
don't
Ben
know.
Needham,
And
that's right.
yeah, I honestly don't know. But what I will say is this: we are 16 years down the line. Obviously, everybody hopes that one day she will turn up, she will be alive, she will be reunited with her family. Everybody hopes this, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. Shall I say? We need to be careful with how we speak about this. We really do. But there are so many other children going missing. And they're going missing now. They're
Mhm.
going missing today.
Yeah. And you know what? And it's like every person that goes missing, right? The first place you look is as close to home as you can.
And I will say this: if the McCanns, and this is just unfortunate reality, if the McCanns were working class like myself, if the McCanns didn't have any money and didn't have status and didn't know the right people, if this were me, if this were most of you people watching, the British authorities would have arrested us. They'd have done us for child neglect. They would have taken the other children away from us.
Mhm.
And we wouldn't be able to, even if even if the quote unquote official narrative is true, she was taken. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
We would never have seen, because they had the twins as well. If we were the parent to the twins as well, we'd have never seen them kids again. Because they would have been taken away from us and we'd have been thrown
absolutely.
in a hole.
Yeah, you would have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I know. I mean, the whole thing's just ridiculous. It really is. Anyway, shall we move on?
I think we should. Where shall we go?
Let's go
Should we
to
go to one more
Canada.
story and then
Let's go to Canada. Then,
Okay.
I know this is quite
blame
topical
Canada?
because this is all Canada.
Oh, Canada.
That's it. So anyway, as we're going to Canada, right? This is quite topical because I was speaking about this the other night. raging wildfires in Canada have burned through over 2 million acres of land in Alberta. Right? The fires sparked by high heat and a lack of rain have forced thousands to evacuate. Now, is it possible that the fires have been so bad because of the land management not allowing fires to occur naturally?
Right, first of all, that's probably one part of it.
Yeah.
But the second part of it is, I'm going to say this, and this is going to sound quite controversial, but in recent years, we have seen a spate of climate activists arrested for starting these forest fires, haven't we, John?
There was that happened in California, and it happened in Australia.
And
didn't
Australia.
it? Yeah.
Yep.
So it's happened in a few places. I think
It
I'll be
has.
honest. I think and just to put the Madeleine McCann thing to bed because of the chat there, but I think if you want to watch anything about Madeleine McCann, watch the Richard D. Hall thing.
Oh no! Wait a minute. You're not allowed to watch Richard D. Hall anymore because BBC Verified.
Yeah, but you can find it
targeted him,
somewhere,
didn't they?
surely. But it has his stuff on her is very good. Yeah, so that was
Mariana
Canada,
Spring's
right?
name
So
keeps
that's
coming up.
obviously a result of climate change, which we fully embrace. Climate does change; it's been changing all the time. It changes daily, and I think sometimes we call it weather. Anyway.
Yeah, hold on. Let me turn off my fan so I can make this bit look pretty appropriate.
Oh, you're going to start sweating?
Climate change.
Yeah. So the climate's changed. There you go. So anyway, and we've got lovely pictures coming in today of another smoky mountain in Italy, haven't we?
Yes.
Because what's gone up again?
Go on, then.
Mount Etna. It's having a little fit, throwing
Yeah, he's
stuff
having a
into
little-
the air.
And that's not climate change.
No, it's
That's
not
the
climate
shift of
change.
tectonic plates.
Well, it's a hot lava. It's a hot magma plume under the point of the volcano that's actually burst through. So it's like a spot, basically. It's like a
Yeah,
pluke.
basically.
It's like a pluke on the surface of the earth, and it's just been squeezed into the mirror. So the magma's busting forth, and it's released probably more carbon in the last day's burp than we've released this century as humans.
Yeah, probably.
There you go.
Probably because let's face it. These activists, these Extinction Rebellion types, these Just Stop Oil types, they're in a cult. They don't know what they're talking about. Not one of them has probably got a scientific degree between them. They don't know. They literally get told these things on social media, and
right.
oh my God, the Earth is burning.
So the problem is that the science behind it is very questionable.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to question it.
No, you're not allowed to question it,
It's concerning.
It's consensus science, and consensus science isn't science.
Well, no, it's not, because if you can't question science, it's not science, it's propaganda. Because science itself is a question. That's the whole point of science. This is what people are missing. The whole point of science is to question things, is to come up with theories, and it's not to prove them, it's to debunk them.
Yeah.
That's the idea. It always has been. But,
I know,
we can't, once
So
again, unfortunately...
Have you seen what they're doing in the Amazon rainforest?
What are they doing in the Amazon
they've set
rainforest
up
now?
towers in the Amazon rainforest, and they're pumping CO2 out to see how it affects the jungle around it, right?
Why?
Because this is an experiment. Because they don't know what happens when plants get more CO2 than they're used to. So they're going to see what a changing environment's going to do to the Amazon rainforest, whether it's going to make it die back or whether it's going to make it grow. So we know the answer to this, though. You don't need to do this, because what do commercial greenhouses run at?
Exactly.
Commercial greenhouses run at 1,200 parts per million of carbon dioxide in them. They pump extra carbon dioxide in because it does two things. It makes plants grow faster and bigger. So if you're going to pump carbon dioxide into the Amazon rainforest, you're going to make your plants grow faster and bigger, like it happens in commercial rainforests. You don't need to do an experiment. You know what's going to happen. And yet the headline for it was, scientists test CO2 to see if it will make the Amazon jungle die back. Why would CO2 make a jungle die back? It's plant food.
Well, John.
Mm-hmm.
They've obviously got a lot of government funding and grants in order to do this. And that's the only reason they're doing this.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
It makes it look like they're doing something.
But this is a problem with science, because the only way you get funding these days is if you jump on a narrative. So if
Yes,
you're
we
not
are
on
the
the
common
narrative,
sense
you don't
brigade.
get funded. Look at these guys. I mean, even look at like Fred Hoyle, right? He get all his telescope time taken away from him because he said the Big Bang never happened, you know? And the guy might have an appropriate theory, and let's face it, the Big Bang is pretty much discredited these days if you're up on cosmology.
Well,
I mean, cosmology's in
well,
crisis anyway, because they can't work anything out. I mean, it's like that clown Cox, you know, Brian Cox, the one from Liverpool that used to be in D-Ream, right? Darling of the Labour Party, right? Do you remember them?
Yeah.
Things can only get better. Well, that was Brian Cox, the physicist guy that goes on BBC and talks nonsense, right? So he said something the other day.
Professor.
He
Brian
said something
Cox.
the other day about how can someone explain this to me? You know, about a politician. How can you explain this to me? How this would occur? And I said, yeah, I can explain it to you exactly how you would explain dark matter and dark energies to me. I.e., it's a product that I've made up that I can't measure, I can't see, and you just have to believe it's there because it makes my theory work. That's it. Nonsense.
And I'm going to sit on TV and talk to you like I'm an authority because I have Professor in front of my name.
And I corrected
Don't you
him.
know?
I corrected him on Twitter.
Oh dear.
I corrected him on
dear,
Twitter,
do you
and he
know?
retweeted it. He actually retweeted the correction, which I'll give him fair play for.
Did you know? I think we've brought this show to a high.
Well,
and
I think there's one
before
thing
we
I want
even
to finish with.
if it brings it down, I don't want to know.
No, it's not going to bring it down. Why would it bring it down? Why would I bring the show down? How could you even think I would do such a thing as bring the show down?
Because I know you.
You know me.
Give it to me.
Here we go.
Give it.
Star
give it
Wars
to me.
Obi-Wan Kenobi series gets crushing news.
Is it
No
not getting a
second
sequel?
series.
Hey!
Result!
Absolute result. Guess
Obi-Wan
what? If
season
you
2
haven't,
is unlikely to ever happen.
if you have seen season 1 like I have, I'm sorry.
It's
If you
awful.
haven't, then take my advice
Don't
right
watch it.
now.
Don't
And
watch it.
and on the second channel, I'm actually going to make a retrospective about it. I think.
Oh, don't watch
Um,
it. It's just
don't-
awful.
Don't watch it.
Awful.
I'll also give you one more piece of Disney Plus news, obviously, while we're there. The Willow season that they just released 6 months ago.
Oh, well, I got deleted.
It's not only not getting a second season, it's being completely removed from the platform
Was it woke?
after 6 months. It was so woke.
Pardon me.
Removed from the platform because they don't want to pay residuals to the writers, producers and directors for a turd that nobody's watching. And do you know what? Do you know
They're
what?
probably right.
They are right, but the writers and the directors have been on Twitter moaning, and they don't want to pay us residuals because you made a pile of absolute steaming shite.
So
That's why.
are the writers still on strike?
Yeah, the writers are still on strike.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Tony
CJ's
says,
absolutely
what's
correct.
the old... Sorry, what?
I was going to say, CJ's correct in the chat there. Rings of Power is indeed getting 5 seasons.
Why?
And do you know why Rings of Power is getting 5 seasons?
Is Jeff Bezos...
Because Amazon stupidly paid for them all up front.
Oh.
They paid $1 billion up front
Is Jeff
for 5
Bezos
seasons.
seeing one of them off? Hey, did you see that Bill Gates had an affair with a young bridge champion?
Isn't this allegedly?
I don't think it is allegedly.
At this point.
I think it's pretty much confirmed. But anyway,
Well, I think
you can say allegedly if you like, but I'm confirming it. But anyway, that was cool. But apart from that, I can't believe. Well, mind you, did you see her? Have you seen her speaking? Because she's like a doppelganger of Greta.
you need to show me this after the show.
Oh, I'll show you after. Yeah, I will do. What was
Send
it?
me a message on
Tony
the
Garrett
Twitters.
says, watch the old X-Files, much better. Yes, X-Files, tremendous. Loved it.
Yep. Do you know what? The first movie was even okay. The second movie was just awful.
Oh, the one with Billy Connolly in it.
Yeah, the one about the dogs. It was about dogs, really,
That
wasn't it?
awful.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It
the
was
X-Files
terrible.
as a series was fantastic, especially the early ones. They were just brilliant. And they were right on the money. But
CJ says he loves The Walking Dead and all the spin-offs. We're going to have to agree to disagree here. It was great for the first season or two, but then it just got so dull.
Yeah, it got very formulaic, as they say. Formulaic. Oh, there's a new Star Trek Strange New Worlds coming back. I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah,
so I'm okay with that.
I still haven't subjected myself to the first season. I watched one episode of it.
That's
and I was
because
like,
you're not a Star Trek. You're not a Trekkie. You're a Star Wars geek.
Well, you say that. I loved the original seasons of TNG. I loved Deep Space Nine. I even quite
Have you
enjoyed
ever
some
seen
of
the
the
original
series.
Star Trek?
I've seen some of it.
need to watch it.
I've dabbled.
The original Star Trek is actually fantastic.
Mm,
I mean, you've got to give
okay.
Bill Shatner is brilliant, and Leonard Nimoy is fantastic. Scotty's brilliant. DeForest Kelly's
I
brilliant.
cannot reach the control panel, Captain.
You can't change the laws of physics.
By the end of the series, I'd got so fat I couldn't reach anything. I'd sit there and
No,
Captain,
it's
it's no
brilliant.
good.
You've got to watch it. It's absolutely brilliant.
But no, I contest that of New Trek, Picard season 3 is the best thing they've made so far. So I thought it was very good.
I think the Star Trek Strange New Worlds is better than Picard. I thought it was better. I mean, I don't know what Vaughn thinks, but I think it was, or was it Vaughn watch it or was it Adam? But yeah, I think it was better than Picard. But I'm not a great fan of Picard. You know,
Well, I hate Picard
one
season
series
1 and
that I
2.
really liked
Awful.
that people don't seem to like was The Expanse on Amazon. I think it was brilliant. I thought it was really well done.
I've watched a little bit of The Expanse, and I've quite enjoyed what I've seen so far.
You've got
So,
to get
I will say
into
that.
it, but I think it's really well done, and it keeps delivering. I mean, it kept delivering. I thought it was okay. And the other thing that I really I can't see past, and I think it's a fantastic series, was Battlestar Galactica, the remake.
Yeah.
You know, with James Olmos and all that. Although I think it was season 3 was awful. I think it was awful, but there are others.
Is that the one with sexy Cylons?
Yeah. Trisha Helfer. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I watched. Yeah, I enjoyed. But anyway.
Caprica.
Anyway.
Caprica was good, yeah. I liked Caprica as well. I thought Caprica could have done with another season, definitely. I think it had promise. I was quite disappointed when it kind of died a death. That was a spin-off from Battlestar.
So Andrew, I've heard Ozark is good, but then I've heard the final season really dropped the ball. So that's all I'm going to say. And I don't want to get invested in 6 seasons of something that are good and then go into a 7th season of it and it be like Game of Thrones season 8. So I've just got to think about that, shall we say. But on that note, if you do like our stuff, then you can always go and find our other channel, Real Reviews. I shall make sure there's a link to it in the next show because I don't have one to hand.
I've still got something. I might try and do that tomorrow. I've got something I want to do for Real Reviews.
There is something you want to do for the
movie
other channel.
posters. Yeah.
That channel is getting a final rebrand at some point soon. We just need to discuss it. Something that's more...
Yeah, we need a name.
Accessible in search.
We need a name because Real Reviews is rubbish. Not that
and it doesn't come up in search.
It doesn't come up in search because there's too many other Real Reviews.
Yeah. So we need a name that will come up in search and stuff like that. And I've been putting a lot of new content out on there over the last few days, by the way. A lot of new content. So if you can find the channel, go and look at it. John's got something to do for that channel. I think I've got a bit more to do for that channel over the next few days. But we will be returning to single issue videos, hopefully, as soon as possible here as well, whilst not dropping the shows. So we're going to be giving ourselves more work to do to make higher quality content and stuff like that for you. On that note, John, see them out.
Yeah, I'll see you out. Before I go, I'll just have to say sorry, Charlene, I can't agree with you. I'm with Vaughn on this one. But thank you everyone for attending this episode 221 of Chasing Dissent Live with me, John, in the rather esoteric Hawaiian shirt. Ben in his Star Wars outfit and his lovely flowing locks. And you know what? It's been great. For you.
For you.
You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. Too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah.